In the previous class, we started with the case study where we went ahead with designing a simple robot. And in this class, we'll see the technical details of that and then move forward. So we started with the very basics of how to power a motor in the previous class. And then powering a motor is all about connecting a small battery, typically at 9 volt or 12 volt, connecting the positive terminal of the battery to terminal 1 and the negative terminal of the battery to terminal 2, T1 and T2. So this would typically make the robot to move in the clockwise direction. Making the motor to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction or reverse direction is done by connecting terminal 1 of the battery to the terminal 1 of the motor to the negative of the battery, whereas terminal 2 of the motor is connected to the positive of the battery. So if you reverse connect it, reverse connect the terminals of motor with the battery, then you would end up in having the motor rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. So this is a simple physics that we discussed in the previous class. And then, how do you construct a robot? A robot essentially requires 2 motors and 3 wheels. This is the left side motor. This is the right side motor. Left side motor drives one wheel. Right side motor drives another wheel. And there is a free turning wheel or a caster wheel. This is called a free turning wheel because based on the power given by the left motor and the right motor, this wheel will simply move in the appropriate direction. So this is not powered by any motor. This is a free turning motor. This can move in any direction and it can rotate in any direction. This is called caster wheel. Now that is how we construct a motor. So the discussion of previous class was how are we going to design an electronics for this particular robot? How do we design a simple circuit that will make the robot to move forward and reverse depending upon our command? So in order to design the electronics, it is necessary to understand the underlying operations and underlying physics of this robot. For making the robot to move in the forward direction, what is the requirement? What is the requirement? Someone tell me, how do I make the robot to move in the forward direction? So when I ask a question, all of you go to mute mode.
Both the motors should maintain same speed, sir.
Speed is not the criteria.
Okay, they should move at a clockwise direction.
So both of them should navigate in the same direction.
Same direction.
Yes, sir. Maybe
So
in
typically
clockwise direction.
in the clockwise direction. That is.
Clockwise direction.
Yes, sir.
So if both the motors take clockwise direction, both left motor as well as right motor, both of them take clockwise direction, then the robot would navigate forward. How the robot take reverse direction or backward movement?
When the motor spin in anti-clockwise direction.
So when both the motors take anti-clockwise direction, both the left side motor and right side motor, when both the motors rotate in the anti-clockwise direction, then the direction of the robot reverses. In the previous case, it moves in the forward direction. Now it moves in the backward direction. So it is exactly the opposite of the first case. How do I make the robot to move right? What is the
One
meaning of
motor
moving
for-
right? It has to turn right.
One
like
motor
this.
one motor right.
Right. So one motor should run in the
Yes, sir.
clockwise direction.
clockwise, another motor should just stop.
So which direction you want to take, that side motor should stop. So if you want to take right side direction, the right motor should
Right side,
stop.
stop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The right side motor should stop. So if you stop this motor, and if this fellow moves in the forward direction, then the motor turns right immediately. Similar concept is applicable for left movement. So what is the physics behind left movement?
Left
The
motor
left side
should
motor should
stop.
stop.
Right side
And right
motor
side clockwise.
Right side motor should move in the clockwise direction.
clockwise.
When the motor move, will take a left turn. Stopping a robot is obviously going to be stopping both the motors. This motor should be stopped and this motor should also be stopped. So if you put permutation and combinations, forward, reverse, left, right, and stop. So what is the requirement? Let us call both motors as M1 and M2. So this is M1. This is M2. So for forward, what is the condition? Both
Both in
motors
clockwise
should
direction.
clockwise direction. Both should go in clockwise direction. For reverse, what is the requirement?
Both
Both should
anti-clockwise.
be
Both must be in anti-clockwise direction.
For left, what is the condition? Left side motor.
Left motor.
We
must-
call this as
M2
the
must-
left side motor as M1, right side motor as M2. So
Yes, sir.
for making the robot to
M1
move the
must
left
be
side,
stopped.
so M1 should
M1
stop,
must be
M2 should take clockwise.
clockwise.
Agreed?
And M2 must spin in clockwise direction. Yes, sir.
For reverse,
Yes, sir.
for reverse, sorry, for
Sir,
right,
for right.
this is right.
Sir, that's
For right,
M1 should be clockwise and M2 should be
M1 should
M-
be in,
M2 must be
Clockwise.
stopped. M1 must be in clockwise.
M2 should stop. For stopping the
M2 must be
motor,
stopped.
both M1 and M2 should be off.
Stopped.
So this is the requirement for controlling the motor. So can I consolidate the discussion and put it in a nutshell? We have two motors, M1 and M2. If you know how to control the motor to move in the clockwise direction and the anti-clockwise direction, the same thing I can apply to another motor. Thereby I can control the entire robot. Yes or no? So eventually the entire operation of this robot is nothing but you should know how to control a motor to make it in the clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction or to stop. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That is what
sir.
it is. So that the discussion take you to the very first line. You should know how to make a robot to run in the clockwise direction. You should know how to run a motor in the anti-clockwise direction. You should know how to stop a motor. So if you are able to understand this basic physics, then it is pretty straightforward. Now this H bridge will help you to do that. This H bridge will help you to do these three things. It will make a motor to run in the clockwise direction if you want. It will also make the motor to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction if you want. You can also stop the motor if you want. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
So this is called a H bridge because it is looking like an English letter H. In these two arms, you have two switches. Switch 1. What is the numbering we gave? We gave this as S2, is it? You can use any notation as you like. In yesterday's class, what is the notation we used?
S2, sir. That one is S2, sir.
This one is S2. So this is S3 and this is S4. So we have 4 switches in the 4 arms and we have the motor in the middle of the arm. This is called a H bridge. This H bridge is used for controlling the direction of the motor. For clockwise direction, what is the condition I told you? The diagonal switches S1 and S4
S1
should
and
be turned
S4.
on. These two switches should be turned on. So when this switch is turned on and this switch is also turned on, the circuit will get closed like this. Terminal 1 is connected to positive, terminal 2 is connected to negative. This will make the motor to run in the clockwise direction. Okay. So clockwise direction means S1 is on, S4 is on. So this is terminal 1 and terminal 2. Terminal 1 is connected to power supply. Terminal 2 is connected to ground. This is 1. What will happen if you connect S2 and S3 on?
Anti-clockwise.
It will move in the anti-clockwise direction.
This is clockwise. This is anti-clockwise. In this case, terminal 2 is connected to power supply. Terminal 1 is connected to ground. So by simply reverse connecting these switches, you can make the motor to rotate in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. And if you switch off all the switches, all of them will be in off state. Yes or no?
Sir.
Right. Now let us see that operation in a simple simulation platform and understand see the operation of that in a better way. Let us go to File, click New Project. So it will ask for name of the project. So I just give us defect VIE, and it is asking for the path where you wanted to save it. I will save it in the desktop after creating a folder. Electronics design and fabrication is the name I give. So in the folder I will save this. Okay, so click next. It is asking for whether you wanted to create a schematic. Schematic means circuit. So I wanted to create a schematic. So I click this. Which template you wanted to use, it will ask. Select the. Are you able to see the screen, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is asking for the default template. Just choose the default template and click next. And then it will ask whether you wanted to create a PCB. We are not going to create any PCB. So click next. And whether it is asking whether you wanted to write any firmware or whether you wanted to write the coding or something. We are not going to do anything. Simply click. So we are simply going to design the schematic part. So you just finish it. So once you finish, Proteus will automatically open a blank window like this. Okay. So this is where we are going to draw the schematic part of it. So on the left hand side, you have all the tools available. On the devices side, you have a character called P. This P states that you are going to search for parts. So if you click that parts, it will automatically open the devices menu. In this devices menu, you can choose which part you wanted to use, and you can just play with that. So the very first part that I wanted to use is a battery. So I just choose a battery. This is on the right hand side. You can see the moment you choose a part, what exact component that you are choosing will be visible in the right hand side. So I want a simple single cell battery. So I just choose that. Once you choose that, you can just position the battery in the middle of the window like this. So by default, it is coming at 1.5 volt. I want that to be at 12 volts. So I change the voltage of that to 12 volt. So this is the first part I want. Then I wanted a simple switch. So the moment I type the switch, the Proteus automatically offers the appropriate switch that is most suited for you. Simply select that and then position it. So this is a switch that I wanted. So I'm positioning the switch here. So I have a battery, I have a switch. Now I want a small motor to check my operations. So this is a DC motor, simple DC motor model. So that also I take. Okay. Now you have a pencil-like structure. You can zoom in and zoom out by using the middle button of your mouse. So there is a small pencil-like structure available. So you can, the moment you take the pencil to one terminal of the switch, it is changing to a red-like square type wire. So you just click it. Once you click it, there is a green colored wire that follows your path of navigating the mouse. So wherever you take the mouse, that green wire will follow you. So I want to connect the other end of the wire to the battery. So which means positive of the battery is connected to one terminal of the switch. The other terminal of the switch, I click and then I go to the terminal 1 or T1 of the motor, and the other end of the motor, T2, is connected to the negative of the battery. So this is a simple circuit. There is nothing complicated here. We have a 12-volt battery. The positive of the battery is connected to terminal 1. The negative of the battery is connected to terminal 2, of course with a switch. So I want to know how this device works. So in the top there is a an arrow-like structure that is for running the simulation. So you click that, the device, the software goes to the simulation mode. So the switch is in open state now, which means there is no connection between the battery and the motor. So therefore the motor doesn't rotate. So the moment I close the switch, you can see that the motor is rotating in the clockwise direction. Because terminal 1 is connected to. Are you able to see, all of you, the motor making a rotation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now it is rotating in the clockwise direction now. And just to slow it down, you can see that. Right. Now I stop the simulation. I disconnect this. I want to make the the motor to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. So what I do? So I just click my mouse in some portion of the open window. I just cover the entire circuit. So there is a provision for copying this, block copy. So I just copy the entire structure and place next to the circuit. So I'm just copying I don't want to repeat all the stages again. So I just block copy and then remove this. But in this case, I want to do some changes in the wire. So I just right click this wire. Once you right click this wire, you can either choose this wire and press delete icon. So if I choose this and press delete, I can delete this wire. Alternatively, if you right click this wire and right click once again, it will automatically delete it. So right clicking it twice will delete the wire. So that is an easy way of doing it. Or you can alternately select and put the delete key and then delete the wire. So either ways you can do. So in this case, what am I doing? I am reverse connecting the terminals. Now the positive of the battery is going to T2, terminal 2, whereas terminal 1 is connected to the negative of the battery. So I'm just reverse connecting the in the previous case, T1 is connected to battery is positive, T2 is connected to the negative of the battery. In this case, T1 is connected to the negative of the battery, whereas T2 is connected to the positive of the battery. So I'll just position these two fellows in the very close proximity so that it is easy for you to see. So let us go to the simulation menu. First of all, let us save this fellow and run this play icon. Both of them are ready. Now closing the switch is making the motor to rotate in the clockwise direction, whereas positioning this is making the robot in the negative direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. Can you clearly see the directions? One is rotating in the clockwise, the other one is rotating in the anti-clockwise. But it looks as if both of them are rotating in the in the same direction, but one is actually rotating in the clockwise and the other one is actually rotating in the anti-clockwise. Can you make out?
Yes, sir.
You are not able to make out. Probably what I do, I reduce the voltage of the battery to something like 5 volt. So if I reduce the voltage of the battery to 5 volt, then the motor will not have enough voltage to drive, so it reduces the speed. So I'll reduce the speed of this as well to 5 volt. So that will give you a clear picture now. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
So left side motor is rotating in the clockwise.
Clockwise and right.
Right side motor is rotating. So this is our basic physics of operation. Now I want to construct a H bridge. Let us construct a H bridge now. How do we construct the H bridge now? Let us stop the simulation. There is a square type structure there that I hope all of you are following what I am discussing here. Whether you are comfortable in following what I am saying here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, but what is that app, sir?
Which
Should
app?
we download it, sir?
Yes,
That-
all those inputs I will
what
give you.
is that, sir?
This is not an app. This is a simulation software called Proteus. I will give you instructions for how to
Yes,
use this
sir.
software later on. You just follow now.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Now let us construct a H bridge. How do we construct a H bridge? We take a battery. So this is a 12 volt battery. This is a 12 volt battery. So I need switches. How many switches I need? 4 switches I need.
4.
But I want all the switches to be arranged vertically, so I can select them. I click rotate clockwise. So it is arranged in the, once I rotate it, it is aligned vertically. So you can just rotate it as you like. So once you rotate it, I just wanted to copy it. So select this, go to copy mode. So position the second switch here, position the third switch here, and position the fourth switch here. There is also another switch which we have discussed yesterday. What is that switch?
Enable switch.
Enable
Main
switch.
switch, which is gives. Yes, sir. Enable.
So once the enable is on, only then the entire circuit will work. Otherwise, nothing will work. So this is the enable switch.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once you put the switches, now it's time to take the motor. So I connect the motor. We want the motor to be in the horizontal format. So as usual, I select the motor, right click, and then rotate in the clockwise. So now it is horizontally placed. Now it is more or less in the format of H bridge I wanted. Now it is a matter of connecting the connections. So how do we start the connections? let us construct the H bridge. So press, drag, release, again press. Press, drag, again press. So once you press, the wire appears, you can drag it, and then you press it again, it terminates. Press, drag, terminate. See, there is a dot here. This dot signifies that all the three terminals are connected. Similarly, press, drag it here. Okay, there is a dot here, which means all the terminals are connected. So this is our English letter H. So I construct the top, I construct the bottom portion of it. Just to drag this fellow a little. Okay, so connect this here. Note down the dot here. This dot signifies the connection. So what will happen to the other side of the switch where this fellow should be connected?
To the battery.
To the battery. And the negative of the battery should be connected to the other end of the bridge. So this concludes our
H bridge.
H bridge.
H bridge.
So let us see the operation of this H bridge now. Run this. So enable is enable switch is you want to see the text. Maybe I can help you in that. This is enable E. You can increase the size of this. Why this is not increasing? Okay, this is not increasing the size of it. Is this visible?
Yes, sir, visible.
Enabled. We will copy this. Switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, and switch 4. This is switch 1. This is switch 2. Switch 3. This is switch 4. Okay, so now let us start the simulation. So I close the enable, nothing is happening. After I close the enable, why nothing is happening? Because the bridge is in open state. Now let me close S1 and S4. Okay. Making S4 and S4 is actually making the motor rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. It depends upon the symmetry of the motor. Okay. Don't worry whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise, but it will rotate in one direction. But the moment you open S1 and S4 and close S2 and S3, it will be exactly opposite in the other direction. So let me open this and close this too. This is clockwise. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So what I do, I copy this entire bridge. Now I run this. So I open S2 and S3. I close S2 and S4. So one is rotating in the clockwise and the other one is rotating in the anti-clockwise. Let me lower the voltages here to 5 volt so that you can clearly see that. So in this case, S2 and S3 are on. This diagonal switch is on, forcing the motor to rotate in the clockwise direction. In this case, S1 and S4 are on, forcing the motor to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. So, accidentally, if you close S2 also, it is a dead short circuit, okay? You can see that this motor is struggling. In actual case, you will see dense white fumes coming out of the motor, what you call it dense in chemistry. Once you pour this acid and that acid, you will see dense white fumes coming out of your test tube. Likewise, you will see dense white fumes coming out of the motor once you do a short circuit. So this is something that you should not do, that you always bear in mind. Don't turn on the switches in the same side. Why? Because it is a dead short circuit. This positive of the battery is short circuited with the negative of the battery. So that you should never do. So for constructing a robot, we need two motors. One bridge can control one motor. So how many bridges you need for controlling two motors? We need
Two bridges. Two bridges.
So for controlling two motors, we need two bridges. So is there any special function IC available with two bridges inside a single same IC? Incidentally, yes. The name of that IC is called L293D, dual H bridge driver. So go to parts, search for L293. We can see that there is a IC available. So I select the IC. So this is the name of the IC, L293D IC. This IC has two bridges inside. Okay. That is why it is called a dual H bridge. Dual H bridge IC. So what are the two bridges? You can see this. In one, in two, enable one. You have to tell me what is in one and what is in two. Someone tell me what is in one and someone tell me what is in two.
Sir, in one is S1 and S4, sir.
So in one is a combination
in one
of
is S1
H1
and S4.
and S4 together. So if you combine S1 and S4 together, you will get in one. Similarly, if you combine S2 and S3 together, you will get another terminal. Why they are combined together? Because at any given point in time, we are going to operate them together. So that is why they are combined together. So in one is the combination of these two. In two is a combination of these two. Enable is obviously a separate line. So we need three lines for one bridge. Agreed? So that is this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In one is one input line which is connecting to switches 1 and 4. In 2 is another line which is connecting switches 2 and 3. Enable is the master switch. And out 1 and out 2 are the two terminals which are connected to the motor. This is out 1 and this is out 2. You understand? This is where we connect the bridge motor to the bridge. So in the IC case, what will I do? I take a motor and I connect the motor between out 1 and out 2. This is the output of the IC, or this is where I connect the motor to the IC. You understand? So I go to terminal. I take power. So this power is connected to enable 1. So enable 1 is connected to power supply, means this is permanently on. So what I do, I again take power, connect in 1 to terminal number 2 or in 1. You know what is the meaning of this terminal, all of you? This upward pointing arrow is called power. This always supply plus 5 volt. If you want to have that, I can show that here. Plus 5 volt means this terminal supplies plus 5 volt, all of you, always, which means it is always a high. Similarly, this terminal is also supplying plus 5 volt. Enable is continuously on. In 1 is continuously on. I take a ground line and I connect the ground line to in 2. Okay. So you may be asking, or you may be wondering, this wire is crossing this wire. Are they electrically connected? No, they are not. Do you understand? They are not electrically connected, though they are crossing. But in actual case, it is not so. But in circuit simulation and schematic notation, there is a connection only when there is a circle here. I'll show you how. Let us say I connect this 7 to here, and then if it is connected here, then there is a short circuit here. Enable line and the in 1 are enable line and the in 2 are short circuited. Now, as long as it is not there, so this is my enable line. If I make a connection like this, it is still legally permitted and there is no connection here. But when we draw a circuit in our observation notebook or in any lab record notebook, we should not follow that notation. How do we follow? See, this is in 1, this is in 2, this is enable line. So I connected my enable line to power supply VCC. I connected my in 2 also to power supply. Let us say I wanted to connect in 2 to ground. Best possible way is you can connect in 2 here itself. That is the best possible way. But here in our circuit window, the space is very, very slow. So we cannot connect, the ground here. And I don't have enough space to connect the ground here. So I have to drag the ground low. So in our case, what you are supposed to do in our practical case, so if you are supposed to cross this line, we have to draw a small arc like this. That is how we should. So don't draw circuit diagrams like, this is connected to power supply, VCC, and, enable line. Sir told that if there is no dot, we don't have to bother about like this. So don't draw circuit like this. So I don't recommend you to do this. Okay, though this is electrically or technically correct, but you are not supposed to follow this notation. This is the proper way of doing it. So when 2 or more wires are supposed to be crossing, don't simply cross them like this. Rather, cross them with an arc like this. This is the correct way of doing it. All of you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But the computer program doesn't bother about it. It will still cross it, and then still they are not physically connected. So we don't, only there is a dot, there is an electrical connection. Other than that, we don't have to bother about it. So what is the notation here? In 1 is connected to power supply, in 2 is connected to ground, and the enable line is connected to power supply. Output 1 is connected to terminal 1 and output 2 is connected to terminal 2. and the ground lines are of course needed to be connected to ground lines. So where did I took this ground? I took this ground from the terminal. So on the left hand side, you have two arrows here. Probably I wonder whether this is visible to you or not. So there is a small terminal mode here on the left hand side. So you just click that. In the terminal mode, you have different options. The most predominantly used options are power and ground. So power I used for this one, and the ground one I'm connecting here. So I connect the ground wire. Either you can use separate ground like this. This is connected to one ground, and this is connected to another ground. This is one way of doing it, but that is not the professional way of doing it. Professional way of doing it is what? Since both of them are connected to ground, so I short circuit these two, and I connect a common ground. So that is more professional way of doing it. So this is much better way of doing it. So okay, there is not electrically difference between the previous and the present diagram, but this is much more professional than this. Suppose if you have 10 or 15 grounds, you don't draw ground symbols for each and every one. So you just short circuit everything and connect to ground. Now you have two power supply lines here. One power supply line is the 16th pin, that is to be connected to the power supply of the IC. That is the DC power supply. The other one, VS, is pin number 8. That is another power supply, but in this case, it is connected to the power supply of the motor, so it is 12 volt. You have to be clearly understanding the difference between these two power supplies. One power supply is the plus 5 volt IC, plus 5 volt power supply, that is 16th pin, that is for the operation of the IC. The other one is the operation of the motor, so which is 12 volt. I am talking about this battery voltage. This battery voltage is 12 volt, which is pin number 8, and 16 is the operational voltage of this IC. So if you run this, so you can see the motor already rotating in the clockwise direction, because in 1 is connected to high, in 2 is connected to ground. Let us connect another motor in the second bridge and see how it works. Okay, so I take another motor, go to parts, take the second motor, I put it here in the side by side. So the bottom section of the IC connects to the second bridge. I told the L293D has how many bridges?
2H bridges.
2H bridges. So we use the top bridge for connecting the first motor or the left motor, and the bottom bridge is to be connected to the right motor. So this is the left motor, this is the right motor. So I connect the right motor here. So right motor has to be connected between out 3 and out 4. So I told you short circuiting doesn't have any meaning here. So I just drag. Don't draw such a shabby circuit. When you draw practically, draw them neatly. Now, as usual, this enable 2 has to be connected to power supply. Since enable 1 is already connected to power supply, I connect enable 2 also to the same power supply, because both enable 1 and enable 2 has to be turned on. Now, in 3 and in 4, I reverse connect. In 1 is connected to power supply, in 2 is connected to ground. Now, in this case, in 3, I connected to ground. In 4, I connected to power supply. So I reverse connect the terminals of the second motor. So can anyone predict and tell me in what way it is supposed to rotate? Left side motor will run in the clockwise, right side motor will rotate in the anti-clockwise, because we have reverse connected the terminals for in 1 and in 2, in 3 and in 4. So this is left motor, this is right motor. So how do I make the robot to, so I put a small box here so that you can understand. So let us say this is my robot. Okay. So this is an IC pin. So I'll just tell you. So this is my robot, let us say. So what is the, okay. So for making the robot to move forward, both the motors have to be in clockwise. So it is a matter of supplying this in 1 and in 2 with appropriate voltages, and in 3 and in 4 with appropriate voltages, so that it both rotates in the clockwise direction. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So making the robot to move in the reverse direction is again nothing but connecting this in 1 and in 2 in the appropriate supply voltages. Similarly, in 3 and in 4 with supply voltages, so that it takes the reverse direction. So if you see, I can manually go and change the voltages, and then so let us say I want to move the robot in the forward direction. So first of all, let me run this one. So if you see, one motor, okay, probably it is too fast for you. I'll reduce the speed of the motor by reducing the power supply voltages. 5 volt. So left side motor is in the clockwise, right side motor is in the anti-clockwise. Right side motor is nothing but our motor 2. So for forward direction, what is our requirement? Both should be in clockwise.
Both must be in phase, sir.
So what should I do? So I have to connect in 3 to power supply.
In 3 to power supply and
in 4
to ground.
So this has to be connected to power supply. This has to be connected to ground. So if I run this, now you can see that both are rotating in the clockwise direction. So this will make the robot to move in the forward direction. Right. Now, how do I make the robot to move in the reverse direction? I copy this entire structure. So both the motors should rotate in the anti-clockwise, which means I have to reverse the connection here. In 1 should go to ground. In 2 should go to power supply. This is pretty awkward here. I drag this here. Okay. Here also we have to change the connection. In 3 should go to ground. In 4 should go to the power supply. Now, if you run, the first robot will move in the forward direction, whereas the second robot will move in the reverse direction. Here, both the motors are rotating in the clockwise. Here, both the motors are rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. So, this is the physics behind the operation of the robot. Whether this is understood for all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But the problem here is, every time we cannot, go and change the circuit, and then, you pull this wire and connect it to power supply, and you take this wire and connect it to ground, and all those, manual way of doing this is time consuming, and it is not the efficient way. So do you think that we should have a smart device on the other side, so which is like our slave? So I give instructions to my slave or my PA and tell that fellow, oh, listen here, man, when I want the robot to move forward, you just connect these wires as I tell you. And similarly, if I want the robot to move in the reverse direction, you do what I tell you. So that fellow will take your commands, and then it will do the connections for you automatically, so that the robot can, move forward or reverse depending upon the command that you will give. So don't you think that it is much more efficient, and it is much more, beautiful to do?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, yes. So for that, what we need a smart device here, and that smart device is called a controlling device. which is powered by a microcontroller, and that controller device is called an Arduino board. And this Arduino board is what we are going to make use of. This Arduino board, once you have it here, this Arduino board can be given instructions by virtue of developing a small program. So I can tell the Arduino to do the control part automatically depending upon my command. So once I issue a command from my mobile phone, robot, you move in the forward direction or reverse direction. That command will be received by the Arduino, and the Arduino can automatically control this particular IC and then take the decisive action. Why Arduino is necessary here? Somebody justify and tell me. What is the rationale behind using Arduino here?
Sir, because we cannot go and change, no, sir. That is the reason.
So if you are, manually changing this, every time, you have to go and manually change it and fix the circuit, and then it will be a time-consuming one, and it is not an efficient way of constructing circuit. So if you are going to put a master here, sorry, not a master, you are the master, a slave device here. The slave device should be instructed, and the slave device will behave exactly as you instruct him. Okay, you give some instructions. Hey, slave, you behave as I tell you. You do the job as I tell you. So you are telling the slave device to switch over these lines and connect which pin has to be connected to ground, which pin has to be connected to power supply, and when it has to be connected, so that you decide and take control over the entire operation of the circuit. When I want to make the robot to move forward, when I want to take control over reverse. You can also tell the slave to control the direction of the robot whenever it is finding some obstacles or something. So if you find some obstacle, make the robot to move this way or that way. So all this programming part you can embed within the slave device. That slave device is what we call it as an Arduino. If you include that Arduino inside this particular board, then this particular circuit becomes much more powerful, and it can do much more smart work, which can add lot of power to this particular robot. So in the next class, we will see how to integrate such a slave device and make it much more versatile and much more beautiful, so that you can enjoy doing this. So this is where I stop here today. In the next class, we'll see how to integrate the slave device to this electronic circuit and construct a real-time robot.